name's Nash, and I'm a developer evangelist at a company called Twilio. Twilio, if you don't know, is a communications platform for your applications to communicate with your users via voice, video, or messaging. And if you want to talk to me about any of those things, do please find me anytime during the rest of the day. I'll be in bright red, so hopefully you'll be able to see me. But I'm not here to talk about voice or video messaging today. I am here because we're talking about the web getting pushy. But I need to start this talk with a quick warning. Nothing too dangerous, don't worry, but there is going to be some live coding. That means, we all pray that the internet continues to work, which has been doing magnificently so far during the conference, so I'm very confident with that. What it really means is actually we're now all pair programming together. You are now responsible for my bugs, and if anything goes wrong and you didn't shout about it, then it's your fault. Okay? Good. I'm glad we're all agreed on that. There is also going to be some, it's time to make the ES6 joke again. There's going to, I don't know. There's going to be new JavaScript stuff that if you don't recognize, I'll try and talk through it at the same time. Some of it's ES 2016 and stuff, 2015 indeed, and stuff that you may have seen already, and other is new browser things. And of course, we're kind of here to talk about new browser functionality anyway, so hopefully that'll be good. There is also audience participation, not just the shouting out when I miss a semicolon, but in order to make some of this happen, I will be asking if some of you can send some tweets. So get ready for that. It's not yet, but it will make it all a lot more useful if you do have your phones or your computers to hand. So cool. Let's talk about getting pushy. This, for me, is a bit of a story, a little bit about web versus native. I know that's an argument that some people may or may not decide is a correct argument to have, but this, I think, is a little bit in that way, because native application, native environments, native apps have these abilities to do stuff, and I think it's been said that there's a lot of process in order to get something into web standards and get something into all the browsers. That's perfectly reasonable, right? There's a lot of agreement to be had. But if you want to, if you're a native application platform, if you're a native platform provider, all you have to do is implement it, and then boom, it's there in the application. So what we have in the web is a really nice thing in which we take all those ideas that they have and then get the best ones out of it and then standardize them and make it work for everyone. And so we've had that with things like geolocation, which is, I think, an amazing thing that a browser can do for you. Similarly, the accelerometer, so you can throw your laptop up in the air and see what happens to it. Peer-to-peer video chat is an absolutely magnificent thing that we can do in browsers right now, and something that's ridiculously hard to do, and incredibly good engineers have made that just a simple API in browsers. It could be more simple, but that's why we have libraries and other things. And so push notifications is absolutely one of those things that we've been missing out on all of this time. Push notifications are proved, I think Bruce Lawson said yesterday in the morning keynote, proved to drive engagement and bring people back to your application. And we haven't been able to do that in the web until now. And by push notifications, I kind of mean important things like this Twitter one, for example, where two people that you may or may not know are now talking about Grey's Anatomy. Crucial bit of information. I'm sure you'll agree. I don't know. We can all talk about what Twitter does with notifications in general. As I work for Twilio, I would probably have been pointing out that sending text messages would be a great way to send notifications to people on the web, but it does lack that immersive kind of approach that applications have, that you can have the icon for the application in the notification, that you can have when you swipe that to open, it's going to open that app, not the SMS application. So we've kind of been working around this in the meantime, but for now, we can now do it. So let's talk about it. Well, let's talk about notifications first and see what we can do on the web. Now, this is where we need to start sending some tweets. I have created out of my mind this hashtag, which I don't believe anyone's used before. And so this is going to be part of our demo. And there is the slide that says demo, so we can move on to it. So over here in Chrome, I have our application. And this is just going to be, this is just an application built on top of the Twitter API. When you reload the page, it does a search for everything on this hashtag, and I'm just going to send a message now. It does a search for anything on this hashtag, and then it will return them, right? Kind of cool. The Twitter API does take a little time to work, so I'll just take a little break, it's fine. What's nice is the Twitter API has a real-time API, and then we'll get that working in a minute. Yeah, fun. Is it coming through? It is coming through. I sent the message. Right, so this is the back end, and we have a streaming API implementation too. So that was the tweet I sent, and it's come through on the Twitter streaming API, and now the REST API is still not there. This is wonderful. There it is. Hurrah! Okay, that is my tweet earlier that I sent in between me talking a lot about sending it and it arriving. And that's going to come through, right? But we want to be able to notify things. And up until we have this fancy stuff, like we probably did do some other things to like show users what's going on the page. And so I want to just build up something based on that right now. And as I said, I have this streaming API working, and that means I can then pump things through using a kind of real-time technologies, in this case, event source, so server-sent events. And all I need to do is hook that up to a streaming endpoint, and then I will get a stream. I'm also going to get the list that's on the page. And I'm lazy, so I'm using jQuery. And you don't want to see me write DOM manipulation or other kind of selector things. I'm just going to use that for now. So this streaming API is pretty cool, because you just listen to incoming message events. You listen to the message event, and when we get that, we can make something happen on the page, right? So let's get our message, and we'll parse it, because it's coming out as JSON, from the event data. And then we can just create ourselves a list item. And this is one of those nice new bits of JavaScript that I like, particularly, is multi-line strings using the backtick. So we can write out bits of HTML inside our JavaScript if we want to. I've heard that's a cool thing these days if you like React or something. I'm not quite sure. Just put the HTML in there. Let's put some CSS in there later. We'll see what goes on. So I'm just going to write out, this is basically mimicking, I would use a template normally, but this is just going to mimic the front end, the server and what HTML that generates. And this is the other nice part about this backtick strings is string interpolation, or template strings, I think they get known as. And so you can just write dollar and curly brackets and no more messing about ending strings, adding a plus, doing something else, plus, new string again, awkward stuff. So let me just finish this off for you. And we're going to put the message body in the next paragraph down. And finally, we just need to add that to our list.prepend. Cool. So now if we go back to this page and refresh it, and we get some more things coming through, CodeMotion Amsterdam actually responded. That's cool. And so we just see things appear at the top of the page. And actually what I intended to do was add just a class of new, and that will make them appear at the top of the page. See that streaming it, that REST API is really slow today. How about that? If there's one more comes through, then we'll see a little, like a yellow fade, and that was kind of nice. That was something I think, like came in with Rails and things like that, and fancy like little flashes of niceness. And that is a bit of a notification, like it brings attention to the page. But it's pretty useless if you're on another tab, for example, and things like that. So if we pop back over here, that's the demo in case it didn't go wrong. We do actually have real notifications as well. The web notification API has existed for quite a while, and being able to bring people's attention back to your site whilst they're still on it is a pretty useful thing. And has been supported, and I had to update this for this talk. I'm very excited about this, because it's been supported in Chrome since 22, Firefox since version 22, Opera since version 25, Safari, this is the desktop Safari anyway, since version 6 on OS 10.8 and above. And it is behind a flag and available in Edge browser version 14. So normally that says it's under consideration, and it's no longer under consideration. They've gone and done it. So great news from the Edge team that we now have. We're going to get these native notifications in the Edge browser. Obviously, Internet Explorer doesn't have this at all. So let's show how that works, because that, I think, is pretty cool. So with that, I'm just going to uncomment a nice little button I have on my page, and then I'm going to do stuff with that button. So let's get it. Because we need this button because notifications require permission. And that's, I think, a very important thing for the web as well, that we ask permission when we want it for things. And we want to go, okay, I want to send you notifications about this. The user wants to be opting into that kind of thing. And so when we ask for that, we can use the web notification API, which is the big notification object, and we call request permission on it, which is kind of cool. And that you can pass a callback to, which will get the result. And the result could be one of three things. So it's not a yes or no, but a kind of default, granted, or denied. Default means you still can't send messages, but nobody said you can't yet. But I'm not going to listen to that result because I know I'm going to say yes. So that's going to be fine for now. And instead, I can just check up here if the notification permission is granted. Then I can go and do stuff with the notification API. And that's all we need. So what we would do is create ourselves a new notification. And this takes two arguments, one of which is the title of the notification. So I'm just going to make this the same as before. And the other is an object of options. And in this, we can add a few things. I'm just going to put the body in right now, which will have the rest of the message. But you can also add in logos, images, and other bits of data into this that you can then deal with later. We're not going to do that right now just for time. So if I then refresh this page, I can get notifications, and this will pop up that request to say, do you want this to be allowed or blocked? And note, users can block this, so don't be bad with them. We're going to allow, and if a message comes through right now on that hashtag, I'll see if I can send one. On the hashtag. Then we see, boom, little notification up the top there. Hooray, this is all working. As you can see, there's space for like an image or a logo and things like that. And it's also important to note that we can hit the settings for this and turn off our notifications here as well. So every time you send a notification, it's important to realize people can deal with those. But that's kind of like a Chrome-style notification. Firefox one does actually look a little bit more, native, oddly enough. Oh, there's some more. Hello. Okay, and this is the point where I remember to turn the notifications off again. Otherwise, it gets silly as we go back to the slides. Cool. That's what we do. But what we're missing at that point is, in order to receive one of those notifications, you have to be on that page. There has to be open. The JavaScript has to be running. The page has to be open in a browser somewhere. And you don't have to be looking at it. It will still exist, but it has to be open. And so, how about push notifications? This is the exciting thing. And this is based on what Bruce was mentioning yesterday morning as a fancy new thing for the web and something that's going to make all our lives better and save millions. The service worker. I do not have a horrifying hypnotist cat to get you involved in this. All I have is some code. But if you can imagine that cat again, you'll be fine. Service workers are cool. The service worker it was kind of built up in order to make offline websites better. And that was because we had a way to make our websites work offline, the application cache. And as it was roundly called several times by Jake Archibald and other people, called very nasty names and things like that, and then written about all over the place as just how awful it just didn't work for things, the application cache was decided to be a bad way of making websites work offline. And so Jake and I've forgotten his name now. Alex Russell got together and started the service worker idea. So the application cache is this wonderful file where you just declare all of those files that you want to be available offline. And that seemed like a good idea. The service worker is a bit more involved than that. but it's going to make things a lot easier. And so the service worker itself is a piece of JavaScript that runs outside of the context of your page. In terms of working for offline things, it can work as a proxy between your site and your server, in fact, the rest of the network. And it intercepts those requests, and you can respond with things out of caches and other things like that. You can even generate responses yourself. But this is what I get excited about, because it's not just for offline. The service worker allows a lot more exciting things to happen for websites because we are now running this piece of JavaScript that is outside of the context of our page. It is available to be woken up at any time, regardless of whether the user is on your site at the time. And this makes it possible to make push notifications happen. So talking about support for Service Worker, it is a lot of browsers, and support dropped into Chrome in version 40. This was last January. It dropped into Firefox in version 44, which was the January that was just gone. And also, it was in Opera 24. I thought I'd changed that. I think that's actually 27. I got that wrong, damn it. Caniuse.com was in fact wrong, and I've made a pull request. No, I opened an issue to change it. It is right now. It was version 27. Sorry about that. In Safari, Service Worker is under consideration. It is nice to know that they are considering things on the Safari and the WebKit team, because normally they don't tell people anything. So under consideration is cool. And similarly, the Edge team are also considering Service Worker implementation. In fact, I believe it is high priority on the roadmap, so that is even better to see. And the Edge team are doing excellent work. Push notifications didn't quite happen at the same time as that original drop for Service Worker support, and so you had to wait 2 more versions of Chrome to 42 to get the first support for push notifications. It did drop at the same time in Firefox. I still don't know about Opera. I checked out version 37, I think it is, the latest this morning, and it still doesn't work. So, Bruce? But still soon. Okay, good. There is push notification support for Safari on OS 10.8 and above, and it is horrifically non-standard because it uses the Apple push notification service. You have to go get certificates and all awkward stuff, and it's entirely non-standard, so I will not think about it. It is done because it's a high-priority roadmap for the Edge team. I did ask Bruce, actually, when Firefox dropped push notification support, whether there was more stuff on Opera, and I'm glad it's soon. I heard it's also on the roadmap, is that right? This was the roadmap I was told the push notification support is on in Opera. Next version, okay. To update my slides again. Awesome. That's really great to hear. And if you want to see more about stuff on Service Worker support, then Jake Archibald does maintain Is Service Worker Ready Yet, which is very useful at seeing all the different bits that service workers require in order to work. And Internet Explorer, or the Edge team, and status.modern.ie not only has what they're thinking about it, but also the implementation of other browsers. So how does it work? How does this service worker work? Let's get back to the code. We are not going to do these notifications anymore, so I'm going to get rid of them. And I don't need to ask for this permission anymore. Instead, when I click that button, I'm going to install a service worker. That is on the navigator command, navigator object, sorry. And we are going to register it. And all you need to do to register a service worker is give it the path of this service worker. You can also give it an optional scope, which then scopes it to a particular path on your site. So if you need different bits for, I don't know, an admin section, the public section, elsewhere, you can scope it, and you do that in an object there. But we're not going to do that right now because this only has one page, and it's a lovely example application. That registration returns a promise, so we can listen for the resolution of that promise. And when we get the resolution, we receive ourselves a registration object. And that registration object is what we're going to then request permission to send notifications from. The registration has a push manager, and you subscribe to it. And that subscribe it requires one argument in this object of arguments, which is user visible true. And that's just saying to the browser, I'm going to make notifications happen when a push message comes in. then if you don't do that, the browser gets unhappy with you, and supposedly, although I haven't managed to make it happen myself, it will show its own notification. But I've not seen it do that, so you still have to pass that option. So that also returns a promise, so we can chain things up and we don't have to go off into callback nightmares. Was that somebody shouting out, I missed a C? Because thank you. And when we do subscribe, when that comes back successfully, that's when somebody allows the notifications, we get a subscription. And on that subscription, we get an endpoint. And an endpoint is a URL that uniquely identifies this user in this browser, and it is hosted by the push service of the browser in question. In terms of Chrome, this is going to be Google Cloud Messaging, GCM, and that is being updated to make it more like kind of a standard web push API that has been worked on and is standardized and then and been implemented by Mozilla in Firefox. It's quite good, actually, because you can go and look at the code of the push notification server from Firefox. It's on GitHub. It's called AutoPush, and it's written in Python, so it should be fairly easy to read as well. But we're going to get that endpoint, and then I'm going to just use one other nice, fancy new bit of JavaScript, which is the fetch API. Very useful within our service workers as well. This is the new and improved and beautiful XML HTTP request that we deserve, and it allows you to make AJAX XML HTTP requests the way you might like to by just saying, hey, fetch this URL. And I'm just gonna. This is what I'm using to send my endpoint down to my server. So I'm just going to do that. Fetch returns promises. So if the thing succeeds, we'll get a resolved promise. But I don't need to know that because my server works. And this is all I'm doing. I'm sending it down to the server. That's all we need there. But we do need to write our service worker as well. So inside the service worker, we are now, the service worker is very event-based. So we are just going to listen for events. And in this case, we're listening for the push event. Fairly obvious, I guess. And when we get that push event, this is when we have to make our notification happen. And to do so, firstly, we need to tell the service worker to wait. Wait until I've done all the things I want to do. Now, the service worker is great because it runs in the background and it's quite quiet and doesn't do much when it's not receiving events. And it can be killed at any time by the browser. In fact, it can be killed multiple times a second. But if you're trying to do something, that's awkward. So if you tell the service worker to wait until this thing's done, then it won't be killed in that time, and you can get your notification out. Wait until takes either a result or a promise, and when that promise resolves, it is over. So we are going to wait until we do some stuff. And firstly, we're going to go get some data. So this was this is an awkward thing born out of when the service worker push notification support started, in which you couldn't at the time send any data with the event. Now you can do that now, but it's a little bit too complicated for the scope of this talk. So we're going to continue by fetching data off of our server, and I'm going to fetch the latest data in this particular case. I just have an endpoint to send me back the latest tweet that I have from the REST API, which rather hilariously is going to be entirely wrong given how slow the REST API seems today. So we're going to fetch that, and that returns a promise, and we're going to deal with the response to that promise this time, because that's cool. And what we're going to do is we're going to get some JSON back. And one of the other nice things about the fetch API is that you can you just say, OK, pass the JSON out of this response, and it will, as a promise. So we chain again, and that's nice. And this time we get our message. And so finally with this, we are going to send our notification. So we're going to use the service worker's registration to do this. And we are going to use the show notification API. Now this might look a bit similar to something you've already seen, the notification API. So we're just going to see the same things going on here. So we get a message from is going into the title, and we get the object of options in which we're going to enter our body. And again, we could put icons and other things like that in here. But that's all we need to do there. And that we'll return that because that's our final promise that we're returning to the event wait until, and when that notification gets shown, the event will finish, and the service worker will be shut down. Now we can do one more thing, which I just want to show for this, which is we're going to listen out for the notification click event. And I bet you can't guess what this does. No? Okay. It is when you click that notification. Wonderful. So we are going to do a couple of things with this one. We're just going to take the event, and we can get hold of the notification object itself and close it, because that's nice. And then I'm just going to wait until we do one other thing, which is the service worker has a clients API, a clients object, which kind of talks about all the pages that it's in control of. You can kind of inspect those, but we're actually just going to open a new one because we don't have the time to inspect those right now. But you can kind of like update the latest page you want to do, send the user back to them. We're just going to open that one up there, and that should be it. So I haven't put a semicolon. Okay, cool. We're going to go back over here, refresh the page, and hit our button again. That's not a promising looking thing. I was expecting more notifications. We have an error. Good. So somebody messed up. We have no active service worker. That's weird. Well, this gives me an excellent opportunity to permission denied. Did I turn the permissions all the way off? No. This is weird. Let me just use this opportunity to show you the debugging tools that we have for service workers right now. Always useful to see. We actually do have, so this is in Chrome / service worker internals. There is support coming to DevTools, but for right now, this is the best thing that I found. And so this is our service worker that's apparently running, and we can inspect it and see what's going on. And you can even take a look at it, and we have the service worker, which is kind of cool. So what's it complaining about is really the question on my mind. I don't know what permission we're missing here. So I'm just going to move this about, because I'm just going to start the service worker up as soon as the page loads, and then once it's ready, we'll start asking for permission. Let's see if that happens. This is very unhappy with me, which is rather sad, because I really don't know what's happening here. Service worker register. That's our service worker file. So we're not catching a promise. Let me just catch. Obviously, with our promises, we can catch our errors at the end and see what's happening. So I can just log that just quickly and see what's happening. That's the same issue that you were complaining about before. I don't know why your permission is denied. Let me just restart the browser entirely. Or maybe I'll try it in Firefox. Where? Oh, they're here. No, that's true. Returning. So that's actually been passed as an argument into the wait until function. So you don't need to return it. In fact, if you do silly things like put semicolons in here, which I've done before because I'm like, end of the line, that seems reasonable, everything breaks. But we have a permission denied for registration here, and I have no idea why. So I will move swiftly on. Oh, did I really? Hold on. Oh, user visible only is true. That I was talking whilst I said that. Brilliant reading of messages there. Oh, this is going to save the whole thing. Thank you so much. There we go. Thank you. I owe you a beer or other drink that you like later. So let's allow the permission that we've worked so hard to get. And we do have access to that. And so if we were sending a tweet right now, we would see a notification come up on screen, but this is a great time in which to close the browser. Not entirely, it's still alive, but there's no windows open. When some sort of tweet or message comes through, we are going to see a notification. And let's see if I can make one happen before anybody else. There it is. Hooray. That wasn't me, though. All right. So I made the thing happen, but as I said, it's currently looking at the REST API for the latest thing on that. So that wasn't my message. But as you see, you can hit that. We get the client open, and we open the page back up on here, close the notification down, and that is an I'm off the website push notification happening. And it is even more powerful when you take this thing to mobile, because on Android, when you're doing this in Chrome, you can close that browser down entirely. And if a notification comes through, it will wake up the browser, it will wake up the service, it will make that notification happen, and this will act exactly like a native installed application. And so this is just one side of the idea of progressive web apps that Bruce mentioned yesterday, and it makes us able with web technologies to give a native-like experience to users, and in this case, bring their engagement back into our applications when we need it. So that was what happened if it didn't work. And so I need to finish at this point with, of course, a warning, because I like to start and finish with a warning, apparently. Because with great power does come great responsibility, and don't send horrible messages that people don't care about and want to then instantly unsubscribe from your push service. Messages need to be personal and actionable, things that you want, as a user, you'd want to receive. So always think about that in terms of this. The user experience is right there. And every single time, certainly on the desktop, when somebody receives one of those push notifications, there is a little settings icon on the Chrome one. There is a settings tab on the Firefox, just on the notification, where you can turn off, as a user, all notifications from that site. And thus, as a developer, you lose that engagement possibility. So be nice, make good things happen. It is exciting. This might seem like it's pretty new stuff, but it's exciting to note that Facebook, in their mobile version, already have implemented push notifications, I believe in Chrome, and they're working for it in Firefox. And so, if you were wondering, this all seems new and untested and things like that, it's not. Facebook do it. If you're interested in reading the code for this, it is available on GitHub. These slides will be available as well, so I will tweet out links to this later. That is the code. I can see people taking pictures, so I'll stop for a minute. Because the link is on the slides as well, which are up there. And as I said, I will tweet that out later, and you can pick them up there. And there's a bunch of other links on that page of the slides as well, links such as these, which are other really good stuff on push notifications. And so I haven't put all the link here because it's all linked in the slides later. I wrote a blog post a few months ago about how to do push notifications. So I'm building myself, as part of Twilio, an SMS application that can kind of just not replace my existing SMS application, but add myself another one using a Twilio number. And so push notifications is pretty vitally important to that sort of thing. The Service Worker Cookbook is open source, but hosted by Mozilla, and has whole bunches of other things you can do with service workers, which is very useful reading. The web push module is what for Node.js is what I was using on the back end of this to send the notifications off. And the Google Developer blog has a great article, and also your first push notifications web application. So that is all I have for you on push notifications and service workers today. I want to thank you very much for coming along. It's not quite all I have, sorry. I have one tiny little plug to finish this talk off with, if you don't mind. As I said, I work for Twilio, and in 2 weeks' time in San Francisco, we are hosting a conference called Signal, in which we talk about communications and developers and things like that. And so if you are interested in coming along, if you are the kind of people who say, a conference in San Francisco in 2 weeks, I'll buy a flight right now, then please use the promo code PNASH20 to get 20% off your ticket, and use that money for that flight. It is going to be a great conference. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff going on, and a fantastic after party as well, which I'm very excited about, because we're going into space. But that is all I have. That's me online. Come find me. And I don't know if we have time for any questions. We have time for questions if anybody has a question right now. We do.
On the desktop,
yes.
You completely close the browser.
Not at the moment, no. If you completely close the browser, it does not continue to run.
Is there any specification
I'm not entirely sure, actually, no. It doesn't seem to... as far as I'm aware, it's not part of the standard, and I'm not sure why or how it would be. I mean, I always find it weird when I find those extra processes from applications running, and this is a bit creepy. What's Chrome still doing awake? I closed it down a long time ago. That kind of stuff. So I imagine there is, it's less of a standards thing and more of a tiptoeing around users and their kind of privacy and things like that. Of course, you are giving permission for the notification, but it doesn't necessarily mean you'd be giving permission to stay alive always. So it might be something that comes up, and like it's obviously important for mobile, and that's where it does work best. But for now, I don't think it's, I'm not sure it's part of the spec or anything. Anybody else? Go for it. There are, that's a difficult one. You might be able to do that via sending another notification, oddly enough. In later versions of the service worker support, during that push event, you are able to get hold of existing notifications that you have made happen that haven't closed yet, that aren't over with. And at that point, that's like intended to be used to kind of like tuck them up. So instead of having 3 things saying you've got a message, you've got a message, you've got a message, you can turn that into one thing that says you've got 3 messages. But I'm not sure if you can just delete them again, like the user visible only and not user visible true, as we found out to my giant disappointment. That thing is saying like when you send a push, you have to make a notification happen. So that's a really good idea. I will look into that though. I haven't thought about that. It's like being able to close it from different places is a really nice idea. Yeah, that's interesting. Cool. Thank you. Anybody else? Any other questions at all? No? Okay, I realize that I believe lunch is next, so you're all looking hungrily at me now. I'd like to thank you once again for joining me. Thank you very much.